Hey guys, today is March the 31st of 2023. This is US pre-market covering DXY, metals, and energy. So without any further delay, let's get into it. So this is what I use to look at the markets, kind of gauge what's going on. And on the weekends, I'm thinking of doing on Fridays where, if I can, uh, do the bigger picture, which is more the weekly chart and the daily chart. So we'll start off with crude, just things that I'm noticing. You can see that crude is in a squeeze play right here. And it's like it's starting to do a divergence here and it's now creeped back right into that range, which is at $70.93. So this is a weekly chart. It's a little weak, but you can see it on the daily that it got this nice little bounce off of 64 and back in this range of 72.82. So as long as it can stay here, it might kind of, just kind of grind higher and maybe try to go to the higher range. But so far, it's looking good and it's looking positive. On RBOB, sorry, you got the 281 over here, top of the range, and $2.02. And so far, it's looking positive. It's looking a little better than crude because the trend is still a little negative, but it looks like it's getting life. And on the daily, you can see that it's looking good. PPS buy signal. And there's a little squeeze play here, and it kind of triggered out to the upside. So RBOB is looking good on the weekly candle, and on the daily, the trend is still up, but you can see that there is a little minor weakness, but the trend is still up. So it's in this range between 237 and 281. In regards to natural gas, you can see that this is the one I'm really focusing on. You got that 283 high pivot and that 196 low. And if you look at the squeeze play histogram, it's starting to get life. You had two here and then two negative, and now two positive here. So we'll see how we close this week. Uh, Statistically, today's like a down day, so we'll see how that's going to play out. The day is young. And on the daily, you can see that you're getting some life here too. And it's just kind of, you know, kind of between, yesterday's range. So we'll see how that's going to play out. I'll look at it more in detail and tell you the key levels you want to keep an eye on. And in regards to heating oil, not looking too good. You can see that there's nothing positive even on the weekly. So it's, even though on the daily you got this yellow histogram, but nothing positive. It's in that range of 275 all the way to 250. And I figure I just cover Brent because I haven't covered it in a while. Brent is kind of the same thing as crude oil, although you have a swing pivot high here, which is at 79.21, all the way down to 70. So if it breaks above that, then it's going to get back in that range. Crude already is in that range. Brent is kind of having a tough time at 79. So let's see how that's going to play out. And it wasn't in a squeeze play, but now it's starting to. So let's see that for next week. In regards to gold, interesting. You can see in the weekly, it was trying to, it's having a tough time here, trying to stay above 1974, and it's at 2001, so it's getting Momo, and you can see it on the daily. It's kind of chopping in this range between 1937 all the way to 2014. If it could close above 2014, I bet you, man, we're gonna go test 2078. That looks like that's where it wants to go, 2078. So it's strong, nothing weak here. So that means that the dollar maybe might get pressure. I don't know. We'll see. We'll look at the dollar also. Silver, same thing, 24.75 in that range in 1994. And you can see right here in the daily, that's a 23.70 pivot right here, and it's above it, so it looks good. I might want to test 24.50 all the way to 24.77. And that's that pivot right here. If we could break above that next week and close, it's probably gonna next target be 25.46 all the way to 27.55. And if we get there, then and stay strong and positive, it might probably get a pullback on the daily and then maybe resume the trend. I guess the ultimate would be the 28.80, 28.90. In regards to heating oil, just chopping around, but at least is at 407, 408. So I like that. It's just kind of oscillating back and forth. And on the daily, the trend is still up. There's a squeeze play. So it looks like the pressure is to the upside. So let's see if we could close above 414. Because if it could close above 414, next target is 424 all the way to 435. And so far, the weekly candle looks positive and looks good, even though it's in this range of 382 all the way to 435. And palladium, I'll tell you what, I will keep an eye on palladium. I've been hearing a lot of things about palladium, so I'm watching it also. I haven't done a video exclusively on it, but I have it on my radar. You can see this like divergence here. This is positive. Then there's a squeeze play on the daily chart. And it looks like the pressure is to the upside. As long as we could close above 1532, because that's in that range of 1333, we could close above that. There's potential for it to go higher, to test at least 1674 all the way to 1841. That's gonna be let's see, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with this pivot right here, which is at 1525. But which is that right here? We noticed that pivot right there. That's what's stalling. So we could close above that. It's gonna probably test these right here, which is that 1766. But I got to look at the cycles and look at seasonality. Look at just a bunch of other stuff. I just can't place a buy order and just hope. Everything has to make sense in this market. All right, so that's palladium. Even though I know I put some cycle stuff and it didn't work, and it's just kind of consolidating, so maybe that's a good sign that it's consolidating there. Platinum. Let's see. Platinum. Got a PPS buy signal. It looks like there's some positive on the weekly, but it's kind of like trend is still kind of down or kind of weak. You also have a squeeze play, and it's kind of just kind of flat. I mean, as long as we could take out that this level right here, then the momentum could kind of go to the upside. But it's in a range of 953 all the way to 1012, and it's just kind of going back and forth on the daily. But if we could break out above 1012, then that's looking good. Maybe test 1117. But that's the range there, and that's looking positive. So they got a PPS buy signal, but you technically want to wait for it for a pullback and then build a position, put your stop somewhere there, and then see if it could at least get to 1068, then 1117. Those are the pivot highs of targets. The dollar. I wanted to go over the dollar. Where is the dollar? I got the dollar over here somewhere, but I'm watching it. Let's see. The dollar. This is the dollar right here, and it's just kind of, like kind of grinding a little higher here, but still negative. It's a support here. I don't know if this is like a failed new low, and now it wants to go up. So that could probably bring pressure on the metals. So we'll see. But it could probably be here, consolidating. I got to look at the cycles, like I said. But just looking at price action, it's still weak. Like I said, support here at that 101. And let's see how we close and then see for next week. But so far in the daily, it's not, I don't see any Momo right here. Looks like this is a wave 4. And I'm waiting for a wave 5 to go down all the way to like 98. That's the target I have, somewhere around here, 98. I'm waiting for this flush. It may play out, may not, but that's kind of like what I'm leaning towards. And that means that maybe gold will test those highs and maybe push higher. And then, I'll consider playing the reverse on the metals and whatever's inverse and currencies and all that. But I'm just waiting. It hasn't developed. It's not like it's not really now wanting to go and test that. but then it's not really wanted to go and test this and push lower. So we just got to see that's how that's going to play out. Let's close that. Uh, uh, NG, the most popular instrument right now. So these are the levels you want to keep an eye on for NG 213. As you can see, remember this level? I think on my last video, 216, we were stalling here, came back down. This is the overnight session. And now this is the level you want to focus on, 213. So you can see we got this nice spike at 208. And now look at that. Somebody's buying it here. As long as we could close above 213, your next target would be 216. And you can see that that was the low right here. So it's fighting here. Some big buyers are showing up here. Somebody's accumulating here. Once you get above here, 213, 216, your target to the upside will be 227. That's your first target. And it looks like, wow, look at that. That's interesting. Interesting price action here. That's the weekly VWAP. So we could close above 213, which is this level right here. So far we'll be looking good for today. I know statistically it's a down day, but there's a lot of manipulation. If you look at my videos, the comments are very good comments of traders out there. I feel the pain. I feel like some have been squeezed, some have bought at higher prices, and now kind of feeling the pain, the heat in the kitchen. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Some people say, no, don't use stops, because, they know where you are and you're hanging out and they just want to trigger it so you could be in a loss. W. Gann said, always make sure, at least you put a place to stop. You want to minimize risk, the damage, so you can have another, fighting day to fight in the market, in the shark infested waters. So, I totally understand. I think that the best thing is just to put a stop, when, you'd be like, you know what, if I'm wrong, I'm just going to get me out and wait for it. And if it gets down here, you're close to this low, maybe you nibble a little bit here and don't go crazy with a big position and then put a stop right here. If I'm wrong, it'll just get me out because you never know if it's going to, even push even lower. But that's, in hindsight right now. Our bet and our game plan is that this seasonality thing is going to work going into April. Hopefully, if we get into April, tighten your stops. If you're, let's say if you got in at $3 or whatever, $3 at 250, or even at 220 or 240, and it gets up there, just raise your stop. Because down you don't want it to like go back down. And if once you get even, put that stop right under there. Because at least you don't want to now give back to the market, and or maybe you want to give it a little wiggle room. But it's kind of hard, that stop thing. I'm back testing some things on stops, and I know sometimes the market, I get kicked out, and I get upset, but I guess it's part of the trading. All the algos and the computers you're facing and dealing with on a daily basis. It's challenging when you get stopped out, but I always think that it controls your risk and it minimizes it. Sorry if I digressed. Let me get back to here. So 213 is your resistance. You can see it right here. It's kind of stalling. So these are your key levels. 237, bigger picture. And if it's going to push lower, like, statistically said is a big down day, then levels to watch would be 205, 203, right here, 205. And on the weekly, 205, 197, and which is really 196. Because the thing is, if they're going to like flush it down, it's to trap more bears, I think, if that's the game plan, and then pop it next week and then squeeze all these guys, all the short bears, squeeze them out, bring pressure to them. If that seasonality is going to play out, if it just kind of goes sideways or whatever, or maybe continue pushing lower, then, it may not play out. But man, look at that. Look at the volume. Wow. I don't know if it's news related, but that's looking good. Yeah, man, as long as we can stay above this one, this is good. 213. The bears, you see, are going to start pouncing, but if we go hold 213, 216, get to 219, and kind of just stay in this little area right here, that's going to be looking good. And all this is all going to change for next week. Anything else I need to show you? Yeah, MACD is still positive. MACD is still positive here. The Tom D Mark thing switched, so it's interesting. We just had it the other couple of days, and now it disappeared. So that's, I guess, because of the price action, it disappeared. It's one of those things that it happens. And I think that's it. So I am going to sign out. Hopefully you like this video. Just want to do a little pre-market. Just keep your eyes on palladium. And let's see how we close on natural gas. But so far from what I'm looking at, price action, wow, look at that. It's looking good. It's looking good. There's some big volume coming in here. Somebody's buying. I don't know if it's institution. I doubt it's retail, but so far it's looking good. All right. I'm getting excited. I don't want to get too excited. All right, let me get out of here. You guys have a good day, good trading day, and I'll keep you posted. I'm going to work on a video for uranium spot price for my uranium bugs. I'm going to work on the uranium spot price for the month of March, just kind of see where we're at. That's the dinosaur, so it's kind of slow. So I do that kind of once a month, and then just kind of gauge what uranium price action is doing there.